Gulliver prioritizes Huynhnms over humans, and this is a biting satire. You're hearing the voice of Asad Imran on the assimilators, and let's dig deeper into the political and social satire in Gulliver's Travels. An introduction to Gulliver's Travels and satire. Gulliver's Travels is one of the most renowned works of the 18th century literature, which was secretly published in 1726 by Jonathan Swift. He lanced the follies and problems in England and other European countries. Gulliver's Travels satirical caricaturing frowned many literary critics, and they regarded Swift's work as a quote neurotic fantasy end quote. Satire in Gulliver's Travels grows from normal to bitter and then corrosive as Gulliver moves into different fictional but distant lands sequentially. Satire is a literary device in which human follies, vices, abuses, and weaknesses are displayed through humor, ridicule, burlesque, parody, and irony. The chief reason behind a satire is to reform and not to ridicule. Jonathan Swift asserts his views on satire in the preface of The Battle of the Books. Quote, satire is a sort of glass wherein beholders do generally discover everybody's face but their own, which is the chief reason very few are offended with it. End quote. Before going any further, here is an important message. 88% of you watching this video are not subscribed. It would do me and you a great favor if you would hit that round subscribe button with due care. The Land of Lilliputians is a political satire. Gulliver makes his first voyage to the land of Lilliput, where its inhabitants are merely 6 inches tall. Swift satirizes the vain politics of England through the first voyage. Houyhnhnm's rope dancing allegory hints on Sir Robert Walpole's handiworks in parliamentary affairs and political intrigues. Ridicule signals at Lord Carteret, who was favoured by Walpole to become Lord Lieutenant of Ireland. The line, quote, one of the king's cushions refers to King George's queen, who played a key role in restoring Walpole after his political demise in 1717. Swift has also attacked the religious conflict between Roman Catholics and Protestants through an amusing controversy between Big Indians and Small Indians, on which side should an egg be broken. In short, Swift mocks the political and religious conflicts and issues which were rampant during the early 18th century in Europe. Gulliver between Brobdingnagians. Mocking the English ways in the second book, the satire mostly consists in mocking the English ways of leading their lives. Gulliver finds himself on the islands of giants where his condition is reversed. He sees everything of the Brobdingnagians as minute as possible, thus satirizing the ugliness of the human body. But Gulliver's talks with the king also satirizes the way England and France stayed at loggerheads at that time, satirizing scientific endeavors. In the third voyage to various islands, Swift satirizes the human intellect being used as a scientific means to destroy other humans. The details that are given for the scientific experiments going on in the laboratory of Lagado are amusing as well as disgusting. For example, trying to cast sunbeams through a cucumber, or building houses from the roofs, or turning human excrement back into food. Here, Swift is mocking the scientists as well as planners who only give theories and are practically null. Swift satirizes literary critics through Gulliver's interviews with the ghosts as well as the use of science for dictatorship and destruction by the floating island, which stops sunlight to go through or destroys them completely. In the land of Huynhnms, Swift's social satire grows unbearable. Gulliver's last voyage takes the surgeon to the land of Houyhnhnms, where Swift goes Super Saiyan on his social satire, which fiercely attacks on the moral weaknesses of mankind. Here, rational horses are ruling over animal-like humans known as yahoos. Gulliver sketches the most pathetic picture of these humans as thus. Quote, yet I confess I never saw any sensitive being so detestable on all accounts, and the more I came near them, the more hateful they grew. End quote. Houyhnhnms were the horses who led their lives with order and discipline. Since those horses were ruling over humans, such act constitute as a fatal attack on human superiority on animals. Gulliver taught the master of Houyhnhnms all about the evils prevailing in Europe. Corruption, wars, political and religious intrigues which were eating into the vitals of Gulliver's continent. Having heard Gulliver's account, the master replied that the Yahoos were gluttonous and their love of shining objects was unmeasurable. Since Gulliver was, after all, a human, he covered his body at his best so that he might not be sent to the Yahoos. Quote, I had hitherto concealed the secret of my dress in order to distinguish myself as much as possible from the cursed race of Yahoos. The utopian perfection of the land of Houyhnhnms made Gulliver a fanboy of the idealistic lifestyle of the rational horses to detest himself as an inferior human being. He shows his admiration as thus, quote, here was neither physician to destroy my body, nor liar to ruin my fortune, nor informer to watch my words and actions. Here were no backbiters, pickpockets, highwaymen, housebreakers, politicians, wits, murderers, robbers, no cheating shopkeeper or merchants, no pride, vanity, or affectation. And he expresses his hatred against his Yahoo like body. When I behold a lump of deformity and diseases, both of body and mind, smitten with pride, it immediately breaks all the measures of my patience. End quote. This pretty much sums up his immeasurable hatred against his fellow men. The fourth voyage is marked with a biting satire on moral and social foolishness and weaknesses of the European countries where countless humans are killed just to please a king. Conclusion. Gulliver's Travels is corrosive by nature, but it acts as a mirror and reflects a multitude of flaws prevailing in the mankind of the past and present. Swift is, at heart, a reformer, and he wanted to save his society from the problems which were weakening their identity as a civilized race. So it gives a finishing philanthropic touch to his travels. I write for the noblest end to inform and instruct mankind. I write without any point to profit or praise. End quote. Sources used for this video are currently being displayed.